Hi, everyone. It's Virginia Stanley. Welcome back to another episode of Door to Door on a Thursday today, this week. Um, Joined by my trusty sidekicks. Who are you?
I'm Robin. I want to be Robin.
Okay.
That's a good. I'm also Chris Connolly.
No, you could be Robin.
I'm trying to think of the best sidekicks in the history of sidekicks.
Watson.
Elementary.
Who are you? Are you a sidekick?
I want to be like Lois Lane. Like I want to be doing the groundwork.
Yeah. I feel like we're all sidekicks.
Yeah.
But I want to be Lucy. I don't. I mean, I love Ethel, but I want to be Lucy. There. So how is everyone? Thank you for coming on. If you're there, if you're not, maybe you're watching this later. We had to switch things up this week because we had a couple of title presentations with Library Journal on Tuesday for some spring books. So you can go back and check all that. I guess we have that link, or we'll put that link in. And then yesterday we had our big world famous book buzz part 3, part trace.
Perhaps you heard about it. It is world famous. So
yeah. Yeah, where you been? God, that's so obnoxious. Anyway, we had a great time. We had 2 hours of yakking about a lot of summer books and a sneak peek at some fall stuff. So we had a good time, and we hope that you were able to join us. And if you weren't, why not? No, if you weren't, that's okay, because we're putting a link in so that you guys can watch it later. And yeah, we got a lot. What do we get? Like 44, 45 books in?
I think so, yeah.
It was something impressive. Yeah, we were good. It was like 45. Yeah.
I think like overall with all of our titles and every, big books, it was like 110 or something.
Wow. Dang. Yeah. I crashed after that. I was like face plant. But anyway, yeah, it was great. And of course we didn't get to everything. So we're going to follow up with some books that we'd love to get to. Just keep giving books their due. And people want to hear more nonfiction. So next Tuesday, we're going to have our 2 authors on, Jocelyn Jackson and Bula Babalola. We are going to have next Thursday, we're going to do another book buzz on Facebook Live, and we'll be talking a little more nonfiction for the nonfiction buyer in all of us. I don't even know. Is anybody watching?
Yeah, Jennifer Winberry says
Really?
what's up.
Hi, Jennifer. What's up?
Gary Branson. Hello.
Oh, hey. How are you, Gary?
If you're out there, identify yourselves, please.
Yes, please do.
Are.
Gary loves romance.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Gary loves romance.
He might have the show he needs to watch coming up then.
I think that you should share that with him, Lainey.
So we are doing a collaboration with the Hartford Public Library in Maryland, and that is the 24th of February, and it will be all about romance. So be sure to tune in, and we'll share it on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to kind of do a watch party.
Check that out, Gary. We're going to be talking Bridgerton, and if you love Bridgerton, you should read this. It's going to be cool. Oh, speaking of Bridgerton, I know this is not one of the books we said we talk about, but do we want to talk about Julia Quinn's graphic novel?
Sure. So Miss Butterworth and the Mad Baron, you may, if you're a big Julia Quinn fan, as I was talking to the publicist, she was like, let me tell you all the books in. This knowledge has to be good for something, right? So if you're a fan, you know all of the times that Miss Butterworth has come in and out of the books. I think In His Kiss was the book that she started in when Hyacinth is telling Lady Danbury about the book she's reading, which is Miss Butterworth. And so it's just been like a little background story. And now for the first time in its entirety, it's going to be in one graphic novel, and it's Julia Quinn, and her sister Violet Charles is going to illustrate it, or has illustrated it. And so it's very cute and very sweet. And let me see, I'll pull up some spreads.
Gary, are you there? Is this making you so happy? He probably already knows about it, but it's pretty cool. And the response to this has been great. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Okay, so Elaine's looking for that. And Jennifer, thank you for joining yesterday. That was very nice. It was so nice to see your name in our chat room. And so what do we have there? Oh, you're sharing your screen.
So on Edelweiss, you can see all of these, but just quickly, I have all the spreads with Miss Butterworth.
Beauty.
Julia
That's
Quinn
the
was
one
the
right here.
first
This is my
romance
favorite
novelist I
panel.
ever read.
Is that what Gary said? That Julia Quinn was the first romance?
That's me. That's me. Yeah, I read Because of Miss Bridgerton when
Robin?
I first started at HarperCollins, and it was amazing. So smart, witty. Yeah, that was really good. So all I'm trying to say is
What are you
I
trying
was
to say?
ahead of the. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just bragging that I read Julia Quinn before.
We had dinner with her. I don't even know how many years ago that was. In Seattle, right?
Yep.
I think that was Seattle. She
that's where
had
she
come
is.
to the ALA conference.
She's lovely. So
She
anyone
is.
out there any librarians out there who are interested in having Julia Quinn virtually come to their library, email us, because she's a huge supporter of libraries. So there you go.
It's funny because I remember at that dinner she said something about, I can't talk about it, but something's coming with the movie rights, and now look at what Bridgerton is. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I have a neighbor now who we call Lady Whistledown. I'm not kidding. Okay, so other books that we just want to quickly mention, because we're sort of in the we just want to keep this going. But one of the books that I want to make sure everybody knows about is Little Matches by Marianne O'Hara. Lady, are you showing that jacket, or can you?
Just 1 second.
Marianne O'Hara, her daughter Caitlin was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when she was only 2 years old, and at 31, the disease was really getting the better of her, and the family was searching for a lung donor, and so it was. But during that period, and then after her death, Marianne was writing a blog to chronicle this journey of grief and memorializing her daughter in a way, and her spirit. And so that blog, which was getting like hundreds of thousands of unique visitors, then became the inspiration for this book that she has written, called Little Matches, a memoir of grief and light. And I have to say, I dove into this thing and was completely wrapped up into the story, and because it's just so brave. It's such a brave thing, and it's such a generous thing. You're sharing your child who's gone, physically gone, and in the pages of this book, it's lovely to know who this person was. And so anyway, it's everybody says beautifully written, but it is, and I think that everybody needs to know who this person was, and you will know that when you read this book, Little Matches. It's really wild. It's really and the author is trained now as an end of life doula, which is an amazing thing. I can't wait to talk to her about it. We're hoping that we can have a conversation with her, because I'd love to know what that's about. And what an interesting thing. She's a novelist, and she's a former fiction editor at Plowshares. And so anyway, that's her book, and that is her daughter, and you need to know this person. You need to know both these people. That's Little Matches. That's coming out in April. Who else wants to talk?
talk. So I'm really, really excited about the novel Imposter Syndrome by Kathy Wang. You'll know Kathy from Family Trust, which is her debut novel, described as The Nest meets Crazy Rich Asians. And so Kathy is a longtime tech industry insider. She's worked in tech. She's from West Coast, so she knows that field and that world intimately. And this novel, Imposter Syndrome, is part spy thriller, part, I don't want to say satire. It's like something of a critique of the tech industry. It's about being a woman, a mother, a minority in the tech industry, as we all know. That's rare, too rare in this case. And it also talks about privacy. It's like I don't know, the timing is pretty wild how this all lined up. Essentially, it follows a Facebook-esque company, and their COO, Julia, is like this kind of celebrity. She's kind of mid to late 30s, wildly successful, says all the right things, knows how to play the game. She's a mother, so she's like an icon. But the big secret she's hiding is she's actually a Russian plant. She's a spy for Russia. She's been feeding them information. And it's really fascinating because it kind of tracks her own version of the American dream, and that she's worked hard, she's climbed the rungs despite all odds, and she's really proud of herself, but she is becoming increasingly disturbed by the requests that her Russian handler is putting in on her behalf. And things really come to a front when a kind of low-level employee, Alice, who's really not going anywhere in the tech industry. She's made some tough choices in life, and she's just kind of there. But she notices some weird activity on their network and begins to suspect that Julia is involved in something nefarious. So it's this like cat and mouse situation. I mean, Alice has no real power in this world, and again, Julia's like essentially a celebrity, and it's really fascinating to see them kind of go back and forth. You also get a viewpoint of the Russian handler who communicates with Julia. I love everything about this novel. It's doing so much on every page, but it's just propulsive at the same time. It's like, again, spy thriller, tech critique. It's great. It's fantastic. So, and I'll be speaking with speaking with Kathy for the podcast soon. So keep your ears peeled for that. The book is available for download, so I do hope you check it out because it's A++. Love it.
Yay. Okay, I want to talk about a book that we're all very excited about, and I know a lot of you like to know about our lead read, which is, if you don't know, it's a program that the Salesforce, we all three of us are on the committee, but we read a lot of books for each season, narrow it down, and there are 3 finalists, and then we put it off to the Salesforce and everybody votes. And that's the book we're going to get behind for the season. And we might talk about one that was in the final round in a second. But the one that has a 1, so our lead read for fall 2021 is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris. And that's Wanda right there. We don't have a cover yet, so I can't show you that, but it's coming. And this book, so excited about, and it is something that you will not be able to put down. So All Her Little Secrets is a debut, and as Virginia says, she can't believe that it's a debut because it's so well written, and I have read it twice now, and I know what happens. I know what the mystery is at the end, and I still was like, I wonder what happens. So I think that's pretty good if you don't want to put it down a second time. And so this book follows Elise, that's our main character, and she grew up. It goes back and forth in time. And I know sometimes people don't like that, but this one works really, really well because those scenes from her childhood are just so harrowing and so beautiful. And she grew up in a small town called Chillicothe in Georgia. And Elise grew up there. She had kind of a hard childhood. Her mother was pretty pretty terrible, in and out of their lives, but they had a woman that lived beside them that really took care of them and stepped in when her mother couldn't do what she needed to do to be a mother. It was her and her brother being raised there. Her mother got remarried to this police officer in town, and their life kind of got exponentially harder after that. And so you flash back to this time in Elise's life throughout the novel, but you meet her at the beginning. She is middle-aged, working for a transportation company. She's a lawyer and she's on the legal team there. And she walks in, first page, I'm not spoiling anything. She walks in and her boss, she has a meeting with him really early in the morning before anyone gets there. She walks in and he's dead. And she automatically thinks they can't find out what happened. They'll pin this on me because of something that happened in my past, and that pulls you in. She's like, "What happened in your past that you can't be in this room?" So she runs, and it's just the mystery goes on from there. She finds out a lot about the company, and she's quickly moved up the ladder to take his place. And she realizes she might be kind of the token Black worker at this company because not a lot of people look like her. There's a lot of people protesting outside of the company, and she is thinking that maybe it goes a little deeper than she thought. So she's uncovering things about the company, she's uncovering things about her boss's death, but also she's dealing with this past that is coming to haunt her. And it says a lot about, tokenism and code switching that I think I haven't seen a novel really dive in and tell in a really nuanced way. That I think she does such a good job with that. And she actually was a lawyer, so she knows her stuff. That's what she did before she moved to writing. And we're very, very excited to have her on our list, and can't wait to tell you more about all her little secrets.
Echo everything Lainey just said. Yeah, it's like it sort of came, to me, it feels like it came out of nowhere. I'm sure Wanda doesn't feel that way. But I mean, reading it, I just kept thinking, I kind of can't believe that this is a debut. I mean, it just doesn't have any of the, just there's nothing cliche. There's nothing in there that it just feels wholly original, and you keep turning the pages, and it's not formulaic. It's not cookie cutter. It's not any of those things. I'm not saying debut novels are. I'm saying that this one is a cut above, and obviously, as being selected for the lead read, it says a lot, because a lot of people reading these books, these manuscripts. It's pretty neat. So yeah, we're jumping out early on that one. Yepper. Excited. I can't wait to see what the jacket looks like. That's going to be fun.
No.
Palms got really sweaty when she first goes to the kind of welcoming party they throw for her.
Oh yeah.
I literally think the day after, I think the previous guy.
Wait, you could tell that part, can't you?
Yeah,
he can. Yeah, you should.
What, the welcoming party? It's
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, it's in like kind of an estate or a club of some sort. So it's all these good old boys in the South, and she's being introduced and like kind of just looking for people who look like her, and
they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and you can tell there's just like tension crackling in the air, and
you just
microaggressions.
Yes, and you just want to get back on the plane with her and get the hell out of there.
Right.
She has to go, though. She has to. It's very good. I can't wait for people to start reading it.
Yeah, it very, like Get Out is, some people comp a lot of like Get Out-ish, or like Alyssa Cole's new thriller that she had. That's kind of the vibes. But this one is, it's like a mixture of that and corporate politics. I think it does do that a really good justice too. How there really is a lot of bureaucratic red tape when it comes to that too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next up, another book that we are excited about is, I'm going to talk about the Eddie JQ book, Lainey, The Happiest Man on Earth, The Beautiful Life of an Auschwitz Survivor. Now, this beautiful man at 100 years old, alive and well, has told his story And now we're very honored to tell his story. So we did a book list webinar a bit ago, and included this book and a snippet from his TED talk. It's amazing. This is a man who has literally seen it all, been through it all, and has come out of this calling himself the happiest man on earth. So he was captured by the Nazis during Kristallnacht, and he was in the concentration camps for 7 years, and a death march during the last days of the war. And through all that he has seen, what was harrowing, he calls himself, he's the happiest man on earth. He is grateful to have survived, and he's determined to, just to smile every day and to show gratitude for the family that he had. When he talks about his wife and his children, and all of the things that life provided, what he got out of life because he was able to live. And that's what he focuses on. And he's also honoring the 6 million Jews who did not survive. If you watch any of this, and we'll show you a little piece right now, and then you got to go back and watch this. It's just absolutely unbelievable. If you go to the Edelweiss page, the TED Talk, the link to his TED Talk is there on the Edelweiss page. But he just talks about kindness and how life can be beautiful if you make it beautiful. It's all what you do with it. And he's a strong man in many ways. Lainey, can you just play a little snippet of this so people can get a sense of Eddie Jaku? No sound. No? Maybe because you're muted, Lainey? Don't know.
Okay, sorry, I had to share my sound. So, can you hear this?
Yep.
I was lucky enough, managed to escape
Can you get
what
louder?
became known as the Death March. And I hid in a forest alone for many months before I was found by the American Army. But I'm standing here today, happy man, who enjoys life with a wonderful wife and a beautiful family. I do not hate anyone. Hate is a disease which may destroy your enemy, but will also destroy you in the process. I am doing everything I can to make this world a better place for everyone. And I implore you all to do your best too.
I think that's good. You get the idea. He's just, he's an astounding man. And I've watched that a couple of times now, and it's just so inspiring. It's beautiful. It's a lesson, and I there's not much more to say about that except that it's an honor to have that book on the list. And I would start by watching that video and what he has to say, because it's really, it's quite something. It's astounding, really. All right. What else do we have?
We have
Oh,
a new Laura. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Gary mentioned the new Susan Elizabeth Phillips, and we'll hook you up. Send us an email.
Yeah, I do want to just let people know, I do want to let people know that we have a new Laura Lippman coming, which you might already know about, but it bears repeating because she is a grandmaster of the crime thriller genre, suspense genre. She can do it all, and this is no exception. Dreamgirl is a standalone. It's a great introduction for those who haven't read her. Most have. She's incredible. she's a New York Times bestselling author. Lady in the Lake, her previous standalone / book publication, kind of thrust her to new, I think, heights as far as sales and recognition, which we're so happy to hear because she is truly a master. She's also a Library Reads Hall of Fame author. That's important to note. And this is cool. This has, I'd say, a little bit, it's still a thriller, a psychological thriller, a hint of horror, just in that it kind of has echoes of Misery. And it follows this novelist who suffered an unexpected injury, and he's kind of bedbound now in his apartment. And he's just under the care of essentially two women, and he's otherwise pretty much isolated from the world. And he seems to be slowly losing his grip on reality. And he is starting to receive late night phone calls from a woman who might be the titular character from his hit novel titled, you guessed it, Dream Girl. So it's a really like suspenseful look at the unraveling of this author's psyche. Just a very cool, kind of like what's real, what isn't, just an unreliable narrator. And again, if you know Laura Lippman, you know, she takes any concept and just turns it up to 11 in its brilliance and its execution. And that's exactly what you're going to get here. Jennifer Winberry says, "Holy Hannah, Dream Girl was amazing," all caps. It was. Wait, what just happened book. So up all night. Love it. Jennifer, thank you for backing me up there. So this is coming June 22nd. It is available on Edelweiss and NetGalley. So run on ahead and read, please.
Okay, I'm gonna share this photo. Okay, so we talked about the lead read, and we said we might talk about some that made the I guess final round top 3. And this is one. This is the author, Emily Atami, and this is Fault Line. So I don't have a cover again to show because we are getting really ahead of these. But this one was a book that was so beautiful, and I think that, you know, it shows motherhood in a way that a lot of books don't, and a very honest look at it. And so in this story, we have a woman, Mizuki. She is a Japanese housewife. So it's very international, but the main character, Mizuki, also had studied abroad, and speaks English really well. She kind of takes on side jobs, teaching people Japanese. And so it is, you know, it's specifically, she lives in Japan, but I feel like it's very international, and I could kind of relate to a lot of the things that are going on, which I appreciated. And so she has a hardworking husband, 2 adorable children. She lives in this beautiful apartment, and as she's cleaning up after the kids and taking them to school and going through a lot of fights about getting them to eat their food, and they don't do anything she tells them to. They are becoming their own people, which she appreciates, but also within that, they kind of take her identity as well. And she doesn't feel like she's her own person anymore. She kind of had this, not glamorous, but she had her own life and she lived it before her kids. And now she feels like that's all she is. She's just a mother with kids who don't obey. And so she and her husband kind of starts pulling away. And so when all this is going on, she's trying to find out who she really is. She runs into a man, a restaurateur, Kyoshi, and he sees her for the first time as someone other than a mother. And they kind of start this emotional affair, which may turn into other things later, but they start this emotional affair, and she decides that she can be anything she wants when she's with him. She can leave it all behind and take on this identity. But then she slowly realizes that, you know, she really loves her children, and she can't be both things at once. And so as she comes to this crossroads, she has to decide what her identity really is, and if she can make it on her own without relying on someone else. And like I said, I think it really does show motherhood. And, you know, like, it's so funny. She's walking in front of the bus, and the kid runs off, and she's yelling at him, and she's like, all these people are looking at her like she's a bad mother, but she's just trying to keep her life together to get to school so she can have some time to herself. And so it's a really sweet book, and I think it talks about some harder topics, but it's really funny too in some ways, and it's kind of witty. And if you're a fan of like Sally Rooney, this would be a good pick for you. So that the title is Fault Lines, FAULT.
Coolo. And what else?
Continue the lead read trio. And I've been talking a lot. I can hold.
You can
Or I
keep
can
going. I just want,
move
yeah,
forward.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So again, speaking of nonfiction, this reads like a novel. One of our coworkers actually emailed me after I had advocated for this book for our lead read program. I gave a blurb, and she emailed me and said, "I totally thought this was a novel until I read your blurb." That's the kind of narrative punch this book has. It's called Sea State by Tabitha Lastly. This is a memoir that Tabitha, I think, approached initially to really inspect the culture of like male-dominated oil rig workers, in this case in the UK, specifically Scotland and England. And so Tabitha had been working in a magazine for a long time, but she decided to quit her job. She got an apartment in Aberdeen, Scotland, and started to kind of inspect the culture around oil rigs and the men who work there. So, the bar culture, the fights, the labor, the competition. These are really high paying jobs. One of the last, I think vestiges of, high paying working jobs. So it's a very fascinating kind of subculture, you could say, these communities. But what I think Tabitha didn't expect is to kind of lose herself to the story. And this is really this lyrical, introspective look at herself losing herself to the story. She begins a relationship with a married man, a married rig worker, and she kind of documents that relationship as it becomes, again, more precarious and more all-consuming and reckless. There's just so much going on here. She inspects, I think, a really fascinating, again, sub-community. And yeah, I love the jacket too. If you can tell, the eye there is an oil rig. Yeah, it's a beautiful, at times tough, eye-opening look at both the author and the culture surrounding oil rigs. How do men, I think she approached this initially as the idea of how do men behave when women aren't around, but then it just became so much more when she, started really diving into the story. We have a long time to wait for this. It's coming on sale in December. Again, this was considered for our fall lead read program. Hopefully we'll have e-galleys soon though, because it was a fantastic read when I read the manuscript. So we should have more for you very, very soon.
That jacket is so cool.
Love it.
Took me a hot second, but whoa.
Yeah.
Now I see it. Yeah, we'll have galleys soon. We'll share. I'd love to hear what you all think. I'm looking at some of the comments, and Gary Branson's talking about how Laura Lippman channeled James Cain. Gary, did you read her other book, Sunburn? Because he's so all over that book. So if you haven't and you want it, let us know. I love that book. Anyway, let's see. What was I going to talk about? I had it pulled up. Wait a minute. There it is. The Sister-in-Law by Pamela Crane. Okay, I just want to read this to you. You ready? Okay, so Pamela Crane is the best-selling author of Little Deadly Secrets. And this is a story about the frailty of family and a battle of wills between a wife and a sister-in-law bent on revenge. Okay, don't tell me you're not already hooked on that. Yeah. Okay, so wait, where's the copy? I was reading to Lainey. Here we go. It's broken. So the description on Edelweiss, you can certainly go there yourself. But sit back, I'll read it to you. So here's the line. She stole my husband, so I'd steal her life. First, you have the wife. Lane won Candace's heart over chocolate martinis and karaoke. But weeks into their whirlwind revenge, Candace realized Lane came with burdensome baggage in the form of his possessive live-in sister and her eerily watchful 6-year-old son. Lane had a secret that seemed to hold him hostage, and Candace would do anything to uncover it. Doesn't that sound amazing? Dipped into this and had such a hard time pulling myself out of it long enough to come and talk to you guys because it's so much fun and twisty. And I can't wait for people to read this. The Sister-in-Law. This is by Pamela Crane. It's coming out in August. It's just one of these fun domestic suspense. Yes, I just love that whole line. Anyway, what are people saying? Are they like, yeah, I want to read this too? C state. Okay, yeah, C state, but let's get into this dishy stuff.
Oh, we could mention Pamela Crane's blog post she did,
Oh,
which was really, really great.
do
she-
tell.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll find the link. I'll put it in there. She did a guest post for her last book, which off the top of my head I can't think of. Dirty Little Secret.
Dirty Little
Little Deadly Secret.
Little
Little
Dirty
Deadly Secret.
Deadly. Ooh. And she did a blog post and it was really, really great. She calls herself like a mental mommy, and her kids all say like, my mom kills people for a living in her books. You have to go check it out.
Yeah.
We went door to door, and
Yeah.
we met her animals, because I think she lives on a farm, right? Or at least
Yes,
there are
we
animals
did.
around. So
Yes. Oh, can we
That's-
put the link in there and then people can watch it later? It's so
Yeah.
great. She is super nice, super funny, super smart, and knows how to write a really good page turner. So check it out. And then check out the video because it's pretty fun. By the way, speaking of door to door, let's show people, or do we have something to show, or are we just going to let them know again about Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday? So much good stuff coming. Okay, next Tuesday, the 16th, Jocelyn Jackson, Bolu Babalola, Mother May I, and Love and Color. And we're going to have them both on, and it's going to be amazing. So you don't want to miss that. That's next Tuesday, the 16th at 2 o'clock on Library Love Fest. Can't wait.
There's sorry, I was
Have it.
a
That's
little
okay.
slow. So there's Jocelyn, and you have to go listen to Jocelyn Jackson's podcast.
Oh
It was
my God.
amazing.
All right, Lainey, you have to put that in there, can you?
I
Okay.
have a list of links. They're coming.
Okay.
So Mother May I.
You tell them.
Pamela.
Tell them about that interview, Lainey.
So, as you know, we do Editors Unedited, which is part of our podcast series where editors talk to their authors. And we had Emily Crump, who works on so many great thriller books, as well as many other, but she knows thrillers so
She's
well.
Karen Slaughter's editor.
Right. And she spoke to Jocelyn on our podcast, and it was the most energetic, fun filled, information filled podcast ever. You find out that Jocelyn was writing women's fiction, and then she kind of made this turn to domestic suspense, partly because of Emily, her editor. And Emily, for the first time, didn't know this, so that was fun to hear. She was like, really? And they've worked together on 6 books. It was really, really fun. So I hope you go listen to it, because it's just like a really, it's just me and the 2 people on Zoom. And so it feels like you're just like walking into a great dinner party of these people who have known each other for so long. And it's very conversational. So our podcast, we have a lot of great ones, but this one, I think, I say this it's my new favorite. I have a new favorite every month, but this is my new favorite.
That is such a great way to say it, Lainey. Like you feel like you walked into it. It's great. It's got so much inside baseball. Like there's a great energy between these 2, but there's also like this great conversation about, if you want to write a book, this is what you got to do, and this is what you don't have to do. And I don't know. I just found it fascinating. I mean, they are all really good. We're not just saying that, but this one is super fun because you all know Jocelyn Jackson, and she's high energy, so it just adds to it. Listen to it, and you are going to love it. And share it, put it where patrons can hear it. I don't know. We want to do something more with the podcast because we just did such great content. Anyway, you'll see.
Let us know, like, if I truly mean this, email me and say, I don't know much about podcasts, but if you had like a little link of a little short clip, I would listen. I don't know. Tell me anything I can do to get great audio out, because it's a lot of rich content that you can use for readers advisory or just to know what a book is about, see if you want to read it. So we don't want it to go to waste. We want
And you had that great podcast about the romance, and that was right. That
the
was
one with Scarlett Peckham or the editors.
the editors.
Oh yeah. Well, we have quite a few romance ones, but the editors came on to talk about this it's kind of a journal how-to book on how to write a romance, and they're Avon editors who else to ask how to write a romance? Avon editors, and it comes with prompts, and they just sat around and talked about tropes they love and what you should do if you want to write a book. So I mean, if a patron's coming in and asking, I want to write a book, but I don't know where to start, as Jocelyn Jackson says, check out 50 million books and you'll figure out how to write a book. And this is really, really great stuff. So,
Yeah.
anything you want me to do, I will do.
Aw. We're getting there. So then, so come to Facebook Live next Tuesday and meet these two wonderful authors. That's super exciting. Before we talk about the following Tuesday, can I just say now that there's some serious talk here about sisters-in-law? Rosemary Pastillo says, sister-in-law sounds awesome. You're right. C-State sounds amazing. Say that 3 times fast. Watch out for those sister-in-laws, says Shannon Spees. And Jane Jorgensen says, ooh, sister-in-law. We've had wives, mistresses, exes, kids, but I don't remember seeing a sister-in-law. And now I think about it, shouldn't there be all sorts of scary mother-in-laws? Yes. We're going to have her get right on that one. That's very funny. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Love and Colors essay collection featuring all sorts of like retellings of myths, etc. Short stories of collection of Black love across the world. So I don't know if we had said that, but those two authors will be next Tuesday.
Yeah, we just got some real cool updates from publicity for that book. Which we can share.
The week after that, we have 2 great illustrators. Tim Fielder wrote Infinitum, Afro-futurist, and he did this graphic novel that's really, really beautiful. We had a video from him at ALA that we'll link to because he's so funny, had this light up bow tie.
Great.
And then Johnny Sun, who I'm sure a lot of you know from his Alien books. Everyone's an alien. I always do this. I don't look it up beforehand, but his Alien books. And he is an illustrator, and he has this new collection of essays called Goodbye Again. And I started listening to the audio eGalley, which you can too on Edelweiss NetGalley. And last night I took a walk and I was listening to it, and one of them made me cry. It's so beautiful and so sweet, and it's just he's like a modern philosopher. It's just deep.
It does have a way of connecting with people. I mean, there's another way about it. So many people love the everyone's in it, or the Alien books, as you said. Yeah, it's just he really has a way to cut towards the core of our humanity. It's beautiful.
Everyone's an alien when you're an alien too.
Yes,
Just want to correct myself.
I guess we're all aliens. I want to go back to Love and Color for a second because I was getting all caught up in my sister-in-law. So just a whole bunch more stuff coming out about Love and Color. The Cut recommended it for Valentine's Day. Refinery 29 included it in their roundup of fiction books about Black joy. And PW gave it this quote, lovely, the result is effortlessly readable, and the chemistry between characters and the focus on Black female empowerment will surely win over many romance fans. Can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah.
She
has this great bio too. I'm going to see if I can find it because it's probably one of my favorite.
What, really?
Bio. Yeah. Let me go to my 1 second, please. I think she talks about getting her master's in Beyonce.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and she's really funny. She's at BBabs on Twitter. She does a lot of funny tweets. And so you can go check her out there. Let's see. Oh, this is not the one, but she says she's a rom-connoisseur, and this is her debut anthology. So go check out the bio because she's very funny, and her Twitter account.
Yes. And she was she's a big I think she was tweeting about Queen Latifah show the other night. Yeah, I think so. Because I was all about that Queen Latifah.
Oh yeah, she does have a new show.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, Queen Latifah, she's badass. She's badass in this show. It's great. Okay, where are we at? It's 2:47. What other books do we want to talk about now? Lillian Dabney says, I feel like you guys are sitting in my living room talking books. All the door-to-doors are great, but this little intimacy between you and us librarians is very special. Thank you very much, Lillian. It's not, well, we've just been buzzing like crazy, and it's nice for us to just sit back and, exhale a little bit and, just talk to each other and talk to you and find out what's going on with you all. What do you need to know?
I found her bio if we have 1 second for me.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So Bolu Babalola is a British Nigerian woman who, with a misleading bachelor's degree in law and a master's degree in American politics and history from UCL. She feels it is important to state that her thesis was on Beyonce's Lemonade, and she was awarded a distinction for it. So essentially, she has a master's degree in Beyonce and a writer of book scripts and retorts, rom-connoisseur. And she writes dynamic women with distinct voices who love and are loved audaciously. And she's a big believer in women being both beauty and the beast. She is not a fan of writing her own bios, and she can be found at BBABS. I just love that bio.
You're not a fan of write your own bio. That's going to be fun, you guys. That's going to be fun. Wendy Bartlett. Hello, Wendy. We miss you. I like it too when it's just you three. Yeah, I know. It's nice, right? Yes, Jane Jorgensen, Queen Latifah, a very believable badass in The Equalizer. Oh my God, that scene where she goes in to that, I don't know, that room off that stadium or whatever, and those guys have that woman, and it's just like, loved it. Guys have got to watch it. Mary Jane says,
Mary Jane.
Jennifer Winberry. Mary Jane. If anybody hasn't read Mary Jane, what? It's so good. It's so good. We are big fans here of this book. We've all read it. We've all loved it. If you love the 70s, if you love music, if you love coming of age, you're kind of gonna love it. It's Jessica Anya Blau. You know her. She's written a bunch of books, and they're all really wonderful. But this Mary Jane is off the hook great. It's about this young teen who lives in a very buttoned up house. I mean, it's the 70s. It takes place in the 70s, but really it might as well be the 50s. And it's just, can't breathe in that house. And then she gets a job as a nanny watching this little cute 5-year-old kid. And for this family, the father is a doctor. He's a psychiatrist. And so she gets into that house and it's like all hell's breaking loose in a good way. I mean, it's just like, it's not buttoned up. It's the opposite of buttoned up. And so Mary Jane's eyes are opened wide, and it's so much fun. And really cool 70s references. Almost Famous meets, what is it? Davy Jones and the Six, is that it? Daisy Jones and the Six. You gotta read this book. It's going on sale May. I just looked it up. And there's this
music.
I was just gonna say, can we put the music in there? Can we put the link in there?
I don't know about that song, but she has a playlist.
The playlist
she created.
Yeah. It's just so good. Mary Jane. Nick Hornby loves it. If Nick Hornby loves it, what else is there to say? Except that Virginia Stanley, Chris Connolly, and Laney Mays love it too. Yeah. Okay. There was something else we were going to talk about before we bid adieu.
Yeah.
What was it?
quickly, well, I can talk about, we have Life on the Line,
Right?
and just quickly, I can tell you about Sisters of the Resistance, if
Yes.
you'd so
Yes.
choose.
Yes. Yes.
So, Sisters of the Resistance by Christine Wells. So, Christine's really well known in Australia, and so we're very excited that she's coming to America, and we'll have her on this list. So, this is the story. It's historical fiction, World War II, Paris, 1944. World War II is almost over. But 25-year-old Gabby, she's, fighting hard, loathes the Nazis then, but she's a concierge of 10 Rue Royale, and she does her best to just avoid the conflict, unlike her sister Yvette, who is very bold and finds a lot of trouble. And so they're both recruited into this, the resistance of Catherine Dior, and swept into this world of spies. My dog wants you to know this book is very good too. And while Gabby risks everything for this man that she is hiding from the Nazis, Yvette is going to decide whether she's going to trust this diplomat that comes into their life. And so she has a big secret that she's going to keep, or decide she's going to keep. And then we go to 1947 in Paris. Yvette returns from New York, and they reunite, and begins a life as a mannequin for Dior, who is revolutionizing this fashion scene in New York, with a new, in Paris, with a new look. And but there's also this past truth that they have to see if they're gonna figure out, and they have to go around that. And there's this quote from Stephanie Marie Thornton. It says, between the desperation of the final months of World War II and the glamour of Dior's post-war collection is a page turner. Based on Dior's real-life resistance movement, this is a powerful story of the impact women have had on history. So you get your fighting in World War II historical fiction, but also this really cool fashion scene that is a fun mix-up. That's Sisters of the Resistance, Christine Wells. And it comes out, let's see, June 8th.
Lainey, Christopher, the hour has flown. I think we need to make mention of, in case anybody missed it, we had at ALA, we did a lot of different things. If you go to Library Love Fest, you'll see it all there. But we had Cicely Tyson, who was one of the speakers at the conference, and the American Library Association has graciously given us permission to share the video of her interview with Donald Bogle, film historian. He wrote Dorothy Dandridge and a couple other books, and that book is coming back out again in August. It's got a new intro and stuff. And anyway, we were so heartbroken when we got the news about Miss Tyson's passing, but we do have that video that we can share. And if you ever want to share it, you have to just say courtesy of the American Library Association. So if you go to the Library Love Fest, you'll see that there, or if it's not there, we'll put it up again. And also, Lainey moderated a panel, and I really encourage you to check this out as well. It was called Representing, and it was 3 Harper authors. And I just thought this was a really unique way to have, it was a unique subject, a unique topic, in that Lainey was speaking to these fiction writers about the importance of writing diverse characters in fiction. So Lainey, do you want to talk a couple seconds about this, and then we can direct people to that link as well? Because it's fascinating. All different kinds of diversity under the diversity umbrella. You need to check it out. It's important, I think. Lainey, why don't you tell them about it?
Yeah, so we wanted to, well, thank you. We wanted to highlight different types of diversity, so that we're working towards a world where you can open a book and everyone is represented and they see themselves. And so these authors were writing characters within a wide array of that theme. We had Kat Sebastian, Queer Principles of Kit Webb is her trade paperback debut. And she writes queer historical romance. So this was set in the 1740s, Georgian period. It's a highwayman who is not a highwayman anymore, not a thief. He runs a coffee house, and somebody a lord comes in and asks if he can help rob his father, the lord's father, because he wants a book. And Kit, who owns coffee house, is like, not doing that, but I'll teach you how to do it. And it's very fun, and they quickly fall head over heels for each other. And then we had Morgan Jerkins, who wrote her debut fiction, Call Baby, who we had on Door to Door. And that book is about it centers on two Black families in Harlem, one holding on to their the historical grasp of selling coal, and they are kind of a really prominent family, and the other one is going through a change, and they one piece of their family wants a baby and can't have one, and the other one has one and can't keep it. So those two families intersect, and Harlem is a character, and it's such a wonderful book. And then the third book was How Lucky by Will Leach. It features a character who has spinal muscular atrophy, sorry, and he is living in Georgia and living kind of like a really great life considering all that life has thrown at him. He's in a wheelchair, he can't speak. He works as an online, like, he tweets for an airline when people are mad, and so no one can see him, and that kind of gives him a lot of he feels more normal because no one can see him and they treat him really terribly. And he has a good cast of friends around him, and he considers himself lucky. And if you like really loved the Rosie Project or like Jenny Moon, that's the kind of feeling this book has, because it's really, really funny, but it has a mystery too underneath. And he's trying to figure out why a girl went missing in his neighborhood, and he's kind of like an unlikely character to solve this, but he's going to. I say it's like a hot air balloon ride. It's like kind of darker topics, but it really does feel uplifting, and it's just a fun wild ride. It's a fun book. It was a really, really great read. And all three authors talked about writing this, and they all have, they come from different backgrounds. Will knows someone with this disease, and he wanted to show that they are just, normal people underneath it all. And they all brought such fun to these characters. So I'll stop talking now because I could talk forever. But it was a really fun conversation, and I had fun moderating it.
It was great. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was great. Really wonderful. So glad that we can put that in there. And then I think I know we're running out of time, but we want to talk quickly about Life on the Line. This book by Emma Goldberg. It's getting great reviews, and I don't even know what can I talk about it, or you guys want to talk about it? I don't care. It's just okay, I'll go because I can't see you. It's about these medical students in New York City, and their residencies took them to the epicenter of the COVID crisis in New York during the height of the first wave of the pandemic. So this the author, Emma Goldberg, is a journalist, and she reports on three doctors, and just gives this very in-depth portrait of how the pandemic redefines not only what it means for them to be doctors, but coworkers and classmates and friends and partners and all of that. And so she immersed herself in this story and reported, on this, just did really extensive, in-depth interviews with people. And this is going to be big. We've already we just got some really good reviews in. Let's see. Robert Kolker, who wrote Hidden Valley Road, that book's amazing. Not ours, but still amazing. He says that this Life on the Line offers vivid, intimate portraits of brand new doctors on the front lines of the greatest public health crisis of our time. But it's also more than that, a carefully considered meditation on morality in times of crisis and what it really means from every angle to care for others when the world is coming apart. The result is devastating and miraculous, beautifully written and overflowing with hope. So, do we have the jacket up for that? I have so many screens open, I can't see anybody. But it's amazing.
It's up.
Jacket's up.
Jacket's up. I mean, can you imagine? They come right out of medical school, and it's like, you hit that ground doing a breakneck pace running,
I actually have two friends who were graduating and in their residency right when it started. And I was just like, I can't imagine. They are heroes. They They're doing, I can't imagine not have any experience and then be thrown into that.
I know. It's unbelievable. There's one other quote. Samuel Friedman, who wrote Small Victories and Inheritance. I won't read the whole thing, but he says, "For those of us who revere my own country, Abraham Verghese classic account of small town doctors reckoning with the onslaught of AIDS. Emma Goldberg has written the sequel for this present plague." Let's see. This book is coming out. It goes on sale June 8th. That's Life on the Line. Young Doctors Come of Age in a Pandemic by Emma Goldberg. Trust us. I think that's it. I think that's all we have time for. Oh man, that went fast.
It did indeed.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone. If you want anything, tell us and we'll send it to you. Just because we love you. Don't forget, next Tuesday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We hope you can join us. Closing comments, closing words?
We hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and guys are probably libraries are opening up, so be careful out there.
Yeah. Wash your mitts. Wear your mask. I don't know. Just be well. Be well. Thank you for being so supportive of us. We hope that you check out yesterday's buzz, and we hope we see you next Tuesday. And until then, you take good care. And dating game kiss. Mwah.
Hi, y'all.